Holding a title in 2 weight classes is the latest marquee goal in MMA. But while the achievements of Conor McGregor and Daniel Cormier are celebrated, there's been several double champs whose achievements have been overlooked. Today, we look at some of MMA's history makers outside of the octagon, from one of Poland's all-time greats to a UFC reject finally reaching his potential. Welcome to the INC, and these are MMA's forgotten double champs. Since his company debut in 2010, Patricio Pitbull has been synonymous with Bellator, a 3-time featherweight champion holding nearly every record in promotion history. So it's appropriate he'd join an exclusive list of Bellator alum back in 2019. Over the past 6 years, Pitbull had been in an ominous form, winning 8 of his last 9 featherweight bouts on his way to regaining the division title. And after dominant wins over Daniel Weichel and Emmanuel Sanchez, the Brazilian set his sight on loftier aspirations. After clearing out the company's stacked featherweight roster, Pitbull was given a shot against lightweight king Michael Chandler in a battle of the company's biggest homegrown stars. Pitbull's previous lightweight bouts ended in disappointment to Benson Henderson at Bellator 160. And with Chandler boasting his own 3-fight winning streak, many penciled the Brazilian as a sizable underdog. It took just over a minute for the featherweight king to silence the critics.
Unpredictable! Chandler gets rocked by Patricio Pitbull! You talk about unpredictable! The referee has intervened, and Patricio Pitbull has done it!
Pitbull's 61-second knockout made him the company's second double champ. Equally the achievement of Ryan Bader when he added heavyweight to his 205 gold 4 months earlier. But Pitbull achieving the honor in 2 of Bellator's strongest classes cemented his place as one of the company's greats. Pitbull would later give up the lightweight crown to focus his attention on 145, with older brother Patricky claiming the vacant gold by defeating Peter Queally at Bellator 270. Mateusz Gamrot joined the UFC in 2020 as one of MMA's most touted prospects, largely due to his achievements competing for KSW in the 2010s. Gamrot was much revered even before his title reigns. The Pole was a 2-time ADCC European champion, boasting one of the most potent submission games in the sport. Traits that carry to a 10-fight winning streak and a match against Mansour Barnawi for the vacant lightweight title. The fight descended into 25 minutes of takedowns and fast-paced scrambles, but Gamrot's trademark conditioning proved the biggest factor, as the Pole claimed the title by unanimous decision.
Gamrot's done it! The work in the final round paid off! He's taken the crown! He is a winner here tonight!
Gamrot continued his dominance at 155, claiming wins over Ganato Gomez and Jagos Jalakowski, as well as a pair of ill-tempered bouts with Norman Park, before making the unique decision to drop to featherweight to fight Kleber Erbst for the vacant title. Despite concerns, Gamrot showed no signs of the tougher cut affecting his performance, claiming a unanimous decision to become the first 2-weight champion in division history. Gamrot made 2 further defenses of his lightweight crown before signing to the UFC in 2020, bouncing back from his first loss with a 4-fight winning streak to earn a spot in the lightweight division's top 10. Conor McGregor made history when he became Cage Warriors' first 2-weight champion in 2012, but little is said about the second man to achieve this honor. Making his debut in 2016, Mason Jones was quickly identified as one of British MMA's most exciting fighters, with his all-action style carrying the Welshman to an 8-0 record and the attention of Cage Warriors' top brass. Jones' first title came in fortunate fashion. The fighter had been set to face Danilo Bellardo at Cage Warriors 113, but due to travel restrictions due to the COVID-19 global pandemic, he was moved into the main event against Joe McColgan for the vacant lightweight title. Jones showed no signs of the short notice affecting his performance, getting the better of McColgan during the early exchanges before a perfectly placed knee proved too much for the Irishman.
Oh no, here! It's a big knee! McColgan goes down! Jones firing up and it's over!
Jones wasted little time trying to add to his trophy cabinet, and 6 months after the title win moved up to welterweight to face 12-1 Adam Proctor. Jones picked up where he left off by dropping Proctor twice in the opening minutes, eventually leading to a first-round knockout and a place in company history. Jones' achievements led him to be signed by the UFC a few months later, but despite a series of all-action wars, failed to find the same level of success. Jones went 1-2 with no contest before leaving the promotion 2 years later to pursue free agency. When David Branch left the UFC in 2011, few expected the career turnaround that would follow. Branch was a raw prospect when he made his Octagon debut a year earlier, but lackluster wins and highlight reel losses led him to be released by the promotion with a 2-2 record. And after bouncing around the regional scene with middling success, he was signed by the World Series of Fighting in 2013. Branch took to his new home like a duck to water, and after wins over Pablo Filo and Dustin Jacoby, was given a middleweight title shot against Ultimate Fighter alum Jesse Taylor. Branch taking just under 2 minutes to cancel the reality TV bad boy.
Branch wants to push his chest.
That is it! It's over!
Oh, man!
After a win over UFC veteran Yushin Okami, Branch turned his attention to light heavyweight. And after a submission win over Jesse McElligott, took on Teddy Holder for the vacant title. Branch wasn't intimidated by the much larger Holder, taking the fight to the ground immediately, and after some heavy ground and pound, claimed a second crown in comparatively straightforward fashion.
He's still not hand-fighting correctly. That's it! That is all over! David Branch is your light heavyweight champion!
Unlike other double champs, Branch successfully defended both titles before being coaxed back to the UFC in 2017. Despite a win over Thiago Santos, Branch failed to recapture the magic of his WSOF run, being released once again after going 2-3 in 5 fights with the promotion. Dan Henderson was becoming an MMA double champ before it was cool to do so. Despite making his debut with the UFC, Hendo made his early name competing for Pride Fighting Championships, combining his Olympic-level wrestling with one of the hardest punches in the sport. 7 knockouts from his first 9 wins identified Hendo as a feared fighter, and a match with Murillo Bustamante for the Pride welterweight title was soon on the cards. While their first bout ended in less than a minute, the rematch proved far more tactical, with the two men spending most of the fighting feeling each other out or clinching up against the ropes. Despite this, Henderson was deemed the more aggressive fighter, claiming a controversial win by split decision. Hendo, however, quickly set his sights on much bigger targets, and after a decision win over Vitor Belfort, was booked in a match against middleweight king Vanderlei Silva. Hendo had come up short against Silva in the two men's first meeting in 2000, and with Silva boasting the most wins and knockouts in division history, was expected to repeat his triumph. After a hard-fought opening round, Hendo treated the Las Vegas crowd to a piece of MMA history. Henderson's knockout made him the first man to hold titles in 2 weight classes simultaneously, and with Pride closing its doors a few months later, the only man to do so in the fabled Japanese promotion. Hendo's accolades saw him become part of a unique matchmaking when he signed for the UFC, competing for 2 separate titles in his first 2 fights with the promotion, losing a decision to Rampage Jackson before being submitted by Anderson Silva at UFC 82. And now for a few honorable mentions. Before joining the UFC stacked bantamweight division, Casey Kenny claimed 2-weight gold competing for LFA in 2019. Caitlin Chookagian claimed 2-weight gold before signing for the UFC in 2016, arguably the most interesting thing about her entire career. Almost everyone in one championship. It's what their 10 billion fans want, right? This is the INC. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a video.